Welcome to town. I saw your wife and you both laugh when the question was asked, did Tom Gores have to sell you on this gig? Why were both of you laughing there?
Well, it was because it wasn't had to sell me on the gig itself. It was whether we wanted to jump back into coaching or not, because we just went through a tough playoff series against Cleveland, got beat in that series, and so, you know, you drained a little bit, and I know the commitment it takes to win in this league, Brad. And I think the number one thing I wanted to do, I didn't want to just jump back in to be jumping back in to have a job. I want to make sure I had was committed, and which I was. And Tom convinced me his vision was to win now. He's a totally passionate owner who players trust. And so, you know, just hearing more of that was more than anything else, more so than being sold on the Detroit Pistons program, because, again, the tradition, the history, the championships that you have here is second to none, and that's where we want to get back to.
That all being said, no coach has lasted for 5 years or more here since Chuck Daly. So given everything that you've said and the pressure that comes with being a head coach anywhere, and knowing this roster, what gives you confidence you can win with Andre Drummond, Blake Griffin, two kind of big men in a league that you said has to be more of a league where you evolve?
Well, Brad, only thing I can do is go by history. Nobody had lasted in Toronto over, 2 years or whatever. So I beat the odds, 7-2. So, but again, it's about getting the job done, the challenge of it. Again, the core of Blake, of Andre, and Reggie is far greater than what I started with in Toronto. And so I love that part. The young players in Luke Kennard, Henry Ellington, and Stanley Johnson is off the charts. So that in itself is appealing. Now, again, like you said, we got to get the job done. We got to coach them up and make sure we come together and change, you know, Stan did a good job defensively and played to their hand offensively. But we want to change a little bit offensively, where we want to open the floor up a little bit more, play a little bit more in flow and in random. With some organization, but again, really take advantage of the three-point line a little bit more.
You praised Stanley Johnson. I think we've heard you talk about Blake Griffin nationally and then here today, but calling Stanley Johnson the best matchup for LeBron James, is that on this roster or are you seeing across the NBA? Because we've seen it in the playoffs 2 years ago, 3 years ago now, but that's some high words.
It's very high words, and I hope Stanley feels that, because it's true. He's got the physical attributes, he's got the mental attributes, which to guard James, or whether it was Michael or Kobe, you better be mentally tough.
Yeah.
And Stanley Johnson is mentally tough. He's confident enough in himself and in his abilities that he can compete against the best, and that's what you got to have.